the entry is so suspenseful.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
makes you want to see what we're gonna say, right?
Yeah. No, it does. Yeah. It definitely does.
All right, people, hello, YouTube viewers. A lot of first, second, third. They're excited that they're one of the first ones on here.
Oh, are they in? Hi. I'm
Yeah.
not sure we had sound. Hi.
We're good.
Hi, YouTubers.
YouTubers, Facebookers, hello. More snow.
Yeah.
More snow.
More snow. That's the deal.
Yeah, so we've had, what was it, 15 inches, 16 inches?
15.7 inches.
So far this year, or was it this month?
I think it's for the season.
For the season. All right, so that's more than each of the last 3 winters.
Yeah.
We had 10 inches last year, I think 8 inches the year before, 10
Yep.
inches the year before that. So, yeah.
Now it's just kind of icing on the cake, I guess, is what they say. Welcome to the live today. Michael Clark here with my host, Brett Waltz, or my co-host, Brett Waltz. There he is right there. And Snowski.
Oh, yeah, Snowski. Can't forget about him.
He's our snowflake cowboy. We kind of go to him for wisdom and advice since we're not technically qualified to come on here and talk about the weather. We have to go to the cowboy, snow cowboy. It's going to snow tonight. A lot of you probably just got some special weather statements sent to your phone. A little bit of light snow. We're probably going to have a lot of these coming up in the next couple of weeks. A lot of really light snow events that will probably add up. Half inch of snow. You're going to have to salt. You're going to have to get out and be ready for it. There it is. There it is right there. In the Dakotas, you see it. That's snow coming in for tonight. Tomorrow morning, it's not actually tonight, it's tomorrow morning as we wake up, like 7 a.m. to noon or so. Mm-hmm. And it'll certainly be cold enough. Temperatures are going to be in the teens. And it's going to work its way. It's going to work its way down through here. So we will take some questions. No cowboy hat. Someone said not yet.
Not a big enough
It's
snow.
not a big enough event. We
Yeah.
only whip out the cowboy hat if we're really feeling feisty.
Yeah. Not for a clipper. Maybe there's something to watch later this weekend. Well, we should talk about that a little bit. A tricky system late this weekend. There's something there. It's something we've been tracking for a while. But the magnitude of the cold coming in could throw a little bit of a wrench in getting a bigger storm.
I've got the map there. We can go into it. Let's go to the COD tab for simulated radar guidance from the HRRR model. I'll scoot over a little bit because you guys don't want to see my ugly mug. Maybe that's not even far enough. Look at me. I'm on a chair today, okay? Leave me alone. Here comes the HRRR tonight with snow moving in. And as we continue to go forward here, we're going to start seeing the arrival of snow getting into the Indiana-Illinois state line. About what time is that, Brett? If that's
Yeah, so this is about 7 a.m.
7 a.m. We're going to see that snow working into the area.
8 a.m.
8 a.m., 9 a.m. You can see again. This is just a good old-fashioned snow coming down. Light snow, half inch to, some places could get an inch of snow here. Along and north of I-70, maybe someone gets an inch and a half of snow or so. You can see where some of the heavier returns are up there near the Kokomo area. This is as we go to about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tomorrow, and then we get out to noon. Again, it's just a swath of snow. It's going to make the roads slippery, right? And it's going to require you to get out there and put some treatment down and keep folks, safe from sliding all over the place. It's through Ohio throughout the day tomorrow. Then it moves east to northern Kentucky, West Virginia, eastern Ohio throughout the day tomorrow. We can see even some lake-enhanced banding going on up there probably. It's a little bit more fronto, a little bit more forcing up there with that. And then it moves out. Cold Arctic air moves in. That's a big area of high pressure working in.
Yeah, that's a really big high. So this clipper is going to usher in some very, very cold air.
Yeah.
Probably as cold as what we got last week or even a little bit colder.
Yeah.
Still some snow on the ground. That'll help things
Pretty
a little
nasty
bit.
cold.
So when you get a big high, it's 1035, 1040 high. This time of the year, in fact, you can see it gets all the way to 1038. That allows for the radiation from the surface to really do work on the air temperature and get really cold around here.
Are you qualified to say that? I mean, is that like a...
I can bring you my my degree from Indiana University.
Okay. I didn't know if if you, since you weren't on TV, if you were qualified to say that, or if you had to, have the cowboy hat on or anything. Sorry.
No, well, no, I did. If it
making sure.
if it helps make me more qualified, I did do TV at IU for a while.
Okay. Yeah. I
So
think that helps.
I've done a little bit of everything. So
Wow.
that makes me qualified, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So
It does. Yeah.
can't call me a social media cowboy.
Let's go to the accumulation maps, the next tab here. I just pulled up, again, the 18ZH You can zoom in a little bit, Brett. You can kind of see where we're anticipating. Anywhere where you see the pink, or not the pink, I'm sorry, the very light blue, that's an inch or more of snow. That's the HRRR, again, just around and north of Interstate 70 there, where you're going to see maybe an inch or more of snow. I think we do have locally higher amounts highlighted in the forecast from to our customers. But a coating is possible as far south as Bloomington, Columbus, Seymour, over towards Cincinnati, down through Chillicothe, Ohio, and then all the way, again, a little bit more enhanced here in northeastern Ohio. Look at the lake effect banding up there across portions of western Michigan. Some spots locally in the next 36 hours, 6 inches or more of snow, with the strong wind coming off the lake, bringing in the heavy snow up there in western and central Michigan. So,
Yeah.
again, nice hit of snow tonight, Brett, or tomorrow morning. What are some of the comments? What are people saying today?
Somebody said, I'm an IU grad, Brett is officially qualified.
Okay.
And then somebody else said, it doesn't count because he didn't go to Notre Dame.
Okay. Yep. I don't think Notre Dame has a meteorology program.
No, I don't think so. We've got IU, Purdue, Ball State, Valparaiso, I think, has one, Western Kentucky.
Yep.
Locally. Ohio State, I'll give, Vince some of that's going to be interesting. We have some friendly competition here in the office, you and Matt versus Vince.
Yeah, Vince has his meteorology degree from Ohio State. Matt's is Ball State.
But he's a Notre Dame fan.
He's a Notre Dame fan. I don't know. You just have to figure it. I don't know.
What do you think? How do you feel?
I think it's going to be a very, very close, low-scoring football game.
A lot of defense.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be 17-21 Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame scrapes by. I think they can put the run to Ohio State. I don't know if Ohio State has the best run defense.
So I saw something interesting. It wasn't like one of the traditional, tracking measures. It was somebody I follow that does rankings and stuff and statistics. And 11 of the past 17 national champions have had the best defense, best adjusted defensive efficiency, and 7 of the last 17 have had the #1 ranking. Ohio State is ranked #1 in that rating system, but Notre Dame is #1 in defense. So very, very interesting.
Yeah.
That would give a slight edge to Notre Dame, at least based off of that.
I think it's 21-17. I thought Notre Dame would actually pull away from Penn State more than they did. Penn State they're a little bit better than I thought.
Yeah, well,
good
so
enough.
their defensive coordinator was IU's football coach for several years. He just, I think, went to Clemson. He just left for Clemson to be their defensive coordinator. So,
needless to say, this is not a sports talk show, but we will be the halftime show. We will go live again. We're just going to do that again because there could be some snow around.
Yep,
talk
there
about
could
that.
be.
This is the snow tonight. All right, half inch or less here across north of I-70. Some people are going to get an inch. Around the Indianapolis metro area, you could get a ½ inch of snow. And that's, again, enough to coat the ground with temperatures in the teens. Okay? Let's go to the next map, Brett. This is a look at the temperatures that will come down from behind this system. This is a look Tuesday morning. You can see the feels like temperature, 0 degrees to even, colder in terms of how it feels. You can see the very, very cold air up to the north. And then again, I think that's Wednesday morning, 0 to -5 in terms of the feels like temperature across Indiana, Ohio. And then you could use the term moderate a little bit by the weekend. When I say moderate, I say it still feels like it's in the teens. It's very, very cold. And then it reloads next week. In fact, you can watch the Arctic air really start to come down, probably behind a bigger storm system Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that we got to iron out the details. But here comes the big below normal temperatures from the blend of models. Feeling next, let's see, what is this, next Tuesday morning?
By
Feeling
next Tuesday.
like -15, -10 degrees across the area. Very, very cold, dangerously cold. across Iowa, Minnesota. What is that, minus 30 in Iowa?
Yeah, minus 25 in northern Iowa. It's getting down to the negative 30s across Minnesota, minus 39 up into North Dakota.
That is not fun.
That is not fun. Coldest area of the
fun.
season, I would say,
Yeah.
into next week.
Yeah. So what we need to watch is the storm system behind it. Now I have the European pulled up, and I want to show you. Let's venture in, Brett, to Sunday, Monday timeframe on the European model here. Take a look at what we're seeing. So this is getting into
Friday night
into Saturday. Again, you can see a storm system here, and some indications that as it runs into the colder air to the northeast, it would change precip from rain to a light snow. Okay, keep going to Saturday morning. You can see some transition there. The storm, what it's doing is having a hard time phasing and doing anything of significance, which might mean that this storm is a miss. It's a hit and a miss. Okay, maybe some light rain. Snow, light snow possible. This is Sunday night. Again, area of low pressure. You can see it work off the coast.
Yeah, it tries
It
in
tries.
the northeast.
I don't think we've seen the last solution, go back a little bit, on this particular system. There's some indications here of, you can see the low down here. It tries to get its act together further to the east. I don't think we've seen the last solution on this. This is still hour 156. I think that this storm has the potential to continue to kind of evolve and grow and move a little bit.
Now, was it the Canadian that was a little more aggressive?
Yeah, the Canadian had a little bit more of an interesting suggestion there of a storm.
Let's look at it.
That the models are having a hard time linking up the polar jet and the subtropical jet. And I think it's going to be one of those game time decisions where we got to get a little bit closer before we're going to see anything significant. You can see, again, it's a little bit more organized on the coast by the Canadian. At the end, I think the Canadian had a decent run with another system. Nonetheless, we're bringing in big shots of Arctic air. The cold behind this is just really, really intense. So if anything, some of the cold air within the next 10 days might act to keep the storm track suppressed south and east and up the east coast. That's within the next 10 days, okay? I think that we're not done with winter storms. The idea is we've got to see what this Arctic air is going to do and how far it can suppress the storm track in the short term. I think late January, I mean, look at this. This is crazy cold. One thing you got to keep in mind with cold like this are the clipper systems. Mm-hmm. The models are not going to see those well. Case in point, tomorrow morning. They're just not going to do well, and you're going to have random half-inch of snow systems every 3 or 4 days that you're going to come through, the models aren't going to pick up on. In terms of big notable storm systems, though, you're probably going to be looking a little bit, later January, perhaps 23rd or 4th and beyond, if that 20th system doesn't pan out. There's a big cold front there, but the storm system's not being able to link up with the jets, so we're seeing a phasing issue.
Ooh,
but
yeah, what about this?
That leads us into some technical discussions. For those of you long-range weather freaks, long-range weather gurus, over here on the top left, this is the January pattern when we look at years where we've got a very similar polar vortex setup, okay? And where the polar vortex is oriented, everything that we're looking at, what does the upper level pattern look like? The models, the data, everything looks like this right now. This is January's temperatures using those years. So what are the years, Brett? What do we have on here?
Yeah, so we've got 2003, 2005, 2007, 2011, 2014, and 2022. 2011 and 2014 in particular have been 2 years that have stood out throughout a lot of this winter. Mm-hmm. Those 2 years in particular have been very good at times. I wouldn't say that we're exactly like 2014. Mm-hmm. We're not exactly like 2011.
Right.
We don't have quite as much blocking as 2011. We haven't had quite as much snow as 2014. Still a decent amount. Yeah. But these 2 years have been pretty consistent good matches to this year. And that's how we kind of forecast long range. We get a lot of questions about, how can you even tell what the weather is going to be like 2-3 weeks out? Well, we're not giving you a precise weather forecast, but we're giving you a look at It could be colder than normal. It could be snowier than normal.
Yep.
And looking at years that are similar to this year is a great way to be able to do that. And so those 2 years in particular, along with some of these other ones, have been good ones to watch throughout this winter so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and so what we did is we took those years in January and rolled them into February. And what you see is an interestingly similar look. It's a little bit of a step back to the west. Okay, the ridging is a little bit further west into the Pacific. The trough's a little bit west, and you see that little green bubble there? That's that southeast ridge emerging that creates a gradient. Now you can see it's still a cold forecast here across the Ohio Valley in the Midwest and in the interior Northeast. It's still cold. Using those years to look forward gives us an indication. I think late January into early February, I don't think we're anywhere near done with snowstorms.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if anything, you know, that look in February would be more favorable for winter storm potential, bigger winter storm potential across the Midwest and the northern Ohio Valley. So for those of you that are frustrated with your lack of snow north of I-70,
Yep.
this is definitely good news for you. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe to our page. We've been building our following up on YouTube quickly over the past couple of months, and would love to have you all on our YouTube channel as
Yep.
well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, basically what Brett's saying here is the pattern supports, you know, a transition, an evolution into February where a lot of the snow has kind of been a little bit further south. The idea is that it can be further north from, you know, that's Tulsa to St. Louis to Indy, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, and over into the interior Northeast there, or New York City, even coastal regions like Boston up there. You could have a much snowier February if this pattern prevails. And I think by looking at things, it makes sense. I think that, again, in the short term, between now, see, today's the 13th, between now and the 23rd, we could miss out on big snows in the Ohio Valley. The 23rd and beyond is where I think a couple bigger systems work their way back into the mix. But between now and the end of the month, you can't discount or count out clippers with weak accumulating snow events, salting events, maybe even one or two clippers that are a couple inches of snow that will require you to get out and push snow. So something to keep in mind there.
And we will still need to watch those kind of southern systems, because we saw that last week of, you know, if I can step over here.
Oh, please, yeah.
You know, the storm last week, at first, the model data had it way down here and really didn't have hardly any snow for us, maybe something very, very light.
Yep.
And it ticked north and north and north and north and north as we got a little bit closer. And so that will be something that we need to watch. But to me, the setup over the next 7 to 10 days, it's not this storm track.
Yep.
If anything, if you're lucky, it's this type of a storm track down here through the mid-Atlantic, if you get lucky.
Why do you think that storm came so far northwest like it did?
Part of it, as we kind of talked about last week, was the snowpack. These storms like to find where the snowpack is, and I do think that's worth watching. We put down a snowpack all the way down here, but it melted quite a bit yesterday. So if it does melt and then it starts to correct, we could see a north tick. And then at that point, that would help if the southern piece right now is way down here, your northern piece is up here. If we can get that southern piece to come north, maybe you could get some phasing here over the Ohio Valley. So in terms of folks asking about weekend plans and stuff and this potential storm, don't change anything right now, but it's worth watching.
Yeah, I mean, in patterns where we're lacking some blocking, the models will have the tendency to not do as good at long lead times and adjust dramatically in short-term forecasts inside of 48 hours, 72 hours. So there's certainly going to be the potential for that. It's not off the table between now and this time next week.
Yeah.
Especially next week and beyond, this pattern here. Now, if we take a closer look real quick, Brett, you can see the kind of the idea we have here locally. Might have to go back. There you go. Over there you go. Yep. The idea we have locally for above normal snowfall. You can see our idea for much above normal snowfall is going to come across central Illinois, Indiana, definitely Lafayette, Kokomo, Muncie, Fort Wayne, South Bend, all of Michigan. Again, it's that little bit of a further northwestern storm track and not so much where you're getting a 12-inch snowstorm in Cincinnati. You can see it might be a little lighter to the south, but for those of you here for February, we really do anticipate the snow to continue, especially the first half of the month. Is it possible the second half of February moderates and there's less snow? Yes, that's possible. And then the pattern might reload early March for one last winter hoorah, if you will, before spring arrives. But nonetheless, we don't think we're done with the snow. The Clippers are going to continue to roll through, and a couple of bigger storms are still not off the table here. I wouldn't be surprised, Brett, if we end the winter at around 30 inches of snow in Indy.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable because, again, if we're already 16 inches in, it only takes another storm system or two, and if we get some Clippers to add on, I don't think that's terribly difficult to do. To your note about February real quick, if you do get this storm track a little bit further northwest, you'll probably see a little more volatility too in the temperatures.
Yep.
There will probably be some more ups and downs. You might get a couple of spring-like days in there. It wouldn't shock me if one of those storms goes a little bit further to the north. And so
For sure.
February I could see being a little bit more volatile. I did look at March this morning for some of these years that we were looking at. And they do tend to continue to run colder into March.
So some March snow. That's what you're saying?
I would not shock me, especially given recent history. I feel like some of our better snows over the past 10 years have been in March.
Yeah.
So I think spring could unfortunately start slow. And I'm going to say unfortunately because normally by mid-February I'm ready to go play golf.
Me too. Pull up our Clarity snow forecast for tonight that customers got sent to their phones. And then I'll take questions. We'll pull up tonight's snow map, okay, that the Mets have put out, and then I'll take questions. So Brett, what do we have in the comments here? Again, the what is this, teal or something? Teal color?
Turquoise?
Turquoise. That's a half inch or more. You're right along I-70, right along it. Okay, that circled dashed line, what does the dashed line say, Brett?
That's localized narrow areas of 1 to 2 inches.
Oh boy. Localized narrow areas of 1 to 2 inches. Okay. I'll take questions if we got them. What are they?
Yeah, so this is a good one. Why do the climate models show mild for February?
Well, I think climate models have shown mild for forever. They have an incredibly warm bias. They always have had. They have no idea what the polar vortex is going to do, where it's going to go. And I'm telling you what, guys, a lot of the things that long-range forecasts miss is the orientation and location of the polar vortex. I mean, there's a lot of things you could look at, but if the polar vortex is in a spot where it's easy to tap into its air and bring it down, you're going to have a hard time being warm. Regardless of MJO phase or Enso phase or whatever, so.
It's from our friend Dusty giving us a shout out. Thank you, Dusty. I hope you made your flight last week. Appreciate your support. Let's see here. New Arctic blast next week. Yep. Guys, I don't think that at this point I see any reason in the extended range to change plans. No. It's just keep an eye on the forecast type of thing.
I wouldn't change plans or freak out or tell anyone of anything wild just yet. Could things change at the end with this storm? Sure, but I wouldn't do anything crazy.
Somebody asking what the ratios will be like for the Clipper tomorrow. We can look at that actually.
They're about 17, 18 to 1.
I was going to say they should be pretty high.
Yeah.
Pretty high ratio.
Yeah.
Let's see. Does the HRRR have that?
I don't think so. On COD.
To go to the
maybe.
COD here. Somehow this mouse has gotten backwards from what I.
Yeah. You know why? Because I changed it.
Yeah, because I use it backwards.
You use it backwards and I don't. And you looked right over it. It was right there.
There it is. Kuchera snow ratio. Thank you.
Yeah. I changed it because I just don't even know how you function with that.
I don't know how you function like this. Looks like 18, 19.
Very powdery, very, very dry snow. Yeah.
18, 19.
Someone asked, I don't even, I should know what the wind is going to be tomorrow. I haven't even looked, can you believe it? Tomorrow, though, I mean, a 10 to 20 mile per hour wind, a couple of gusts to 20 maybe out of the west, but temperatures will be in the teens. Yeah, so.
Yeah, in terms of delays, cancellations tomorrow, probably, I mean, I don't know, maybe a couple.
There could be. I mean, it depends on the start. If it starts at 7,
Could be.
a lot of buses are already rolling by
Yeah.
then. I don't know.
Depends on what they're looking at, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends on the weather forecast that they're getting. But I think some people, especially in western Indiana, could be impacted by the school. The schools could be impacted easily by a slick coating of snow.
Will we have an earlier late start to spring? I think personally a later start this year compared to normal. Certainly compared to last year. Last year it got warm quick.
Yep.
I don't think we will be so lucky once again. Somebody asking about the Pacific Northwest. Will we get more snow in the Pacific Northwest later this month into Feb?
I think at times, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
As the trough pulls back, especially into February, there could be a better chance for snow up in there. You can see again, and we try to see a little bit of retrograding. The trough may even end up further west than this at times.
Yeah.
In the PNW.
Certainly better than December and January,
Yeah.
I would imagine out there, which I think will be a big deal too, especially for, all the wildfires going on. If we can get some of that colder and more moist air to pull back west, that would be beneficial for them. Let's see here. Later compared to last year. Yep. Northeast Ohio, snow squalls tomorrow. You may get some lake enhancement in Northeast Ohio. I think if we go back here to the snow totals, a little bit heavier in Northeast Ohio. Could be some localized totals of 1.5 to 2 inches.
Yep.
So, I don't know if I'd say snow squalls, but lake enhancement.
Yeah.
All right.
One more question.
Let's
One more.
see. What are Central Indiana's chances for a blizzard this year? How about that?
Oh, I have no clue. That's a good question. I mean, are the odds better than what they have been in the last 10 years? Yes. A blizzard? There's no way to know.
It's very rare.
It's very, very rare. Last time we had a blizzard warning was in January of 14, I think. It's been a decade or more since we've had a blizzard warning. It can't be ruled out, but I would say the odds are better. Call it a 5% chance instead of a 0.5%. How about that?
Very low, but
Yeah.
better than normal.
Guys, make sure you're getting clarity. Make sure if you haven't checked it out, scan the QR code in the top right of the screen. Check out clarity for your devices. I'm looking at a pavement forecast here on my phone, an hourly forecast tomorrow. Great tool. We appreciate you all joining. Be ready for snow tomorrow. Again, basically from about 7 a.m. to about noon, 1 o'clock, half inch or more, I-70 north, slick, cold, and all the things. So quick mention our partners here at Express Steel.
Yeah, take the opportunity while there's not a ton of snow to go get your snow pushers. If you need new ones, probably use the ones up that you had. I don't know how that works. How often do you need to replace those?
I don't think very often. I think they last quite a while.
Well, if you didn't have enough
or
this
need
past
another one.
week and you need another one,
Yeah.
go to Express Steel, $100 off with the code BAM at checkout. So appreciate their support as always. Guys, appreciate all of you for tuning in. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. We'll maybe be back with a live if the storm is looking interesting later this week.
Yep, we'll keep you posted. Enjoy the snow tomorrow. See ya.